We'll meet Stirling Moss in just a moment. Congratulations, Stirling. Did the race go pretty much as you expected?
Not quite. My intention was, if I got the lead at the first corner, I would have, on the second lap, not the first lap, I would have gone really fast. The reason for that is that on the first lap, you quite often get people with their oil tank a little too full, or or blowing some oil out of the breathers. So the first time that you come round, well, it's really the second time you come round, is quite likely to be a dangerous time. So I would always slow the pace if I could for that lap. Then, if I'd been in the lead, I would have then gone flat out for 2 or 3 laps just to see if I could break away from the pack. If I could have broken away from the pack, then I would have done so, and pulled out if I could have 10 or 20-second lead. On the other hand, if I hadn't managed to pull away from the pack and I still had Richie Ginther or somebody sitting on my tail, I would have then slowed up and given him the lead for a certain amount of laps until I'd seen where I might be able to pass him and pull away. You see, the thing is, it's very much easier to follow a man, to chase, than be the one that's being chased. And if a man is following you really closely, I mean literally a couple of yards behind, he's learning an awful lot of your technique. Not necessarily for getting greater speed, but where he might be able to pass you. And if you have a particularly unusual line round the corner, which you may have found because of a bump or because of oil or something, you immediately show it to him. And therefore, unless you can break away from the pack, it's not a good thing in a race, I don't think, of 100 laps. They're leading it for 99 of them and then have the bloke just pull out and pass you on the last one. I was rather forced into the position I was in yesterday, because I was laying third, and then something happened to the man who was second, and which was Jim Clark, so I then moved to second, but I had to go faster because Joe Bonnier was coming up in third position. Well, actually, I was pretty worried because last year here, or 1 year anyway, I was 10 laps from the end when everything was going very nicely, and I had a minute, the thing broke. So until I saw that checkered flag, I wasn't sure, but particularly with the Ferraris right on my tail. You know, until I saw the checkered flag, boy, I wasn't so sure. They got within about 2.8 seconds, which is pretty close. And they kept giving me the signal, and as far as I could see, it seemed to be a different chap each time. You know, one signal I'd get, it was Phil Hill, and then a couple of laps later, it was Ginther. Still, you know, same sort of distance, maybe 4 seconds, 5, 3. One seemed to have a go, and then the other one, you know. Yeah, I was driving flat out from approximately the 3rd lap till the 100th lap. I don't know how much quicker I could have gone, but very, very little. I was really right on the limit.
Is winning the race a matter of the car being as good as the driver? After Ginther dropped back, he'll remain 4 or 5 seconds behind you. Is that a case of equal drivers racing equal cars? Because the space between you remains so constant.
Well, it is, in racing, it's difficult for people to understand, but 1/10 of a second, if you're right on the limit, is very difficult to find. And if you were taking the times yesterday, you'd find that Richie would pull maybe a tenth. They'd give me a signal that I was 4.8 ahead. And then I'd go like anything, and then I might pull it to 4.9. And then obviously he'd just get something just right, and it'd go back to 4.8. Very rarely did it vary more than that, except when one or the other of us had to lap a slower car. And that, of course, did drop it back half a second or maybe even a second if the car got in the way, even just for a fraction on the road. If it meant you had to back off instead of being full bore in some particular point, you can drop a second like that. But when the road is clear and you're right on form, a 1/10 of a second is quite difficult to find.
Well, the Grand Prix of Monaco is now history. Peace and quiet have returned to Monte Carlo. The cars and drivers have moved on. This was the 3rd Grand Prix of Monaco victory for Stirling Moss, but he has yet to win the world's driving title. Some people say that he's too hard on cars and that a short course like this one was made to order for him. I don't know, but I do know that after the Grand Prix of Monaco victory, Stirling Moss is the man to beat. I'm Bud Palmer saying so long.